Hey, what's up everyone? My name's AJ Writes Crypto, and I am here with no other than John Allen Woods, the CTO of the Algorand Foundation. First off, John, how you doing today?
My man, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to speak with you, AJ. You know that.
You know, this is our second interview, and I'm glad to have done it in real life. This is amazing. But I have actually a personal question for you before we dive into this. Why is your nickname Jaws?
I think. So my middle name is Alan. My first name is John, and of course surname Woods. So
it's an acronym.
It's an acronym. It's an acronym for John Allen Woods. And you know what the stupid thing is? Like, I was early in tech. Generally speaking, I signed up for Twitter in 2008 or 2009 or whatever. So there were better names. And I had this thing where my Gmail was had John Allen Woods in it, and please don't email me. I'm just teasing. So I went with the same motif, but actually looking back on it, I probably could have got John W. or something cool, but yeah, I didn't. So yeah, the very creative community came up with John Allen Woods.
Okay, but I kind of think it's fitting. I think Algorand's the apex predator in terms of tech. You're out for blood. I think there's a lot of ways,
We are now that we have Marc, who's and his team managed by Alexa as well, of course. I want to shout out to all of those folks. But we are now out for blood because we've got a crack killer marketing team that are in high gear. And of course, this is a bit of a renaissance for us, if that's the right word. It's a new period for us where we have essentially a brand new CMO who's only there a few weeks, but already Marc and his team under his leadership have delivered some really impactful stuff. Not least the incredible new branding at Decipher, which is the colors behind us and stuff. I think they've done a great job of making it chic.
Yeah, Marc has done a very good job. And if you want to watch my interview with the new CMO, Marc, make sure you click the link down below in the description. It is right there for you to watch.
It is the interesting one, so do go and click on it.
Oh, well, we still haven't had this one yet. We don't know that yet. So a lot, just like you said, with the big marketing push and everything, a lot has changed since our last conversation when it was the first interview, the day the new technical roadmap released.
Right.
Was the day of that interview. And I was honored to do that, just like I'm honored to do this one. But my question to you is, it's going into July here now, basically. Mm-hmm. What has been your main focus as things have been shifting?
Yeah, totally. And thanks. I always love having the opportunity to speak with your audience because you've got a big audience and they care and they're knowledgeable about crypto, which is so they're the right audience to speak to. When we last chatted, I was working with the team. We put forward the roadmap. The roadmap was essentially all based around decentralization and security. And so we've done three things on the roadmap, and we have 5 in total. So there's another 2 things to do for the rest of the year. So the 3 things we've done. We reduced the block time. We call it dynamic lambda. Essentially, the block time went from over 3 seconds to under 3. So it's 2.8 seconds or so is the average block time.
Now I have to change the lyrics in my rap song.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Damn it.
Don't do it yet, though, because we're going to be tweaking it further. So
1 second.
Yeah, do a new take in a few months.
Okay.
Second thing we did was non-archival relays. And so for the folks who are not familiar maybe with the technicals of Algorand, essentially the computers that send the data around the network, we made some optimizations to them, and it meant that we could run the network at about 75% of about 25% of the
without the
cost.
relay nodes.
And
that saves a lot of money.
It's literally millions of dollars. And then number 3, and I think this was something I was very excited about at the time, we wanted to change the programming language of Algorand. It was this language, Teal. Teal is like low-level assembly language. If you want to add 2 numbers, you can't just say A plus B. You got to be like, push the A, push the B, send the operator, squeeze them together. It was yucky. I mean, it has its place. These low-level things have their place, but not for the everyday person who's just trying to explore this stuff. Yeah. And so Advocate 2, which we dropped this year, it brought, Advocate, by the way, is the name of our product. That's the complete DevTools suite. It's the Xcode for Algorand. It's the Visual Studio for Algorand. And we dropped Advocate 2 with Python, and now people can write apps in regular Python, semantically normal, syntactically normal Python, the same Python that's used all over the world. And this is a big thing. Not everyone needed a language that simple, but many people do, and it's important that it's inclusive and easy.
Right.
There's many options out there with these platforms, many options out there in terms of operating systems, and we need to make sure that if people have a look at us, that they stay.
And see, that actually kind of perfectly goes into my next question. Talked about this in the Marc interview. There's 30,000 devs in Web3 and 8 million Python developers. How do we incentivize the Python developers to come to Algorand.
Right, and this is a key reason why we did Python. We wanted it to be as inclusive as possible. We wanted the set of potential customers or users to be large. Of course, I'm a realist, so I don't expect we're going to get all 8 million developers, but even if we capture a small percentage of those developers, it'll be a huge influx in terms of the richness of the applications on Algorand and indeed how much it's used. So how do we get there? I think authentically is the most important thing. And so what I mean by that is don't want to attract folks for short-term gains or crypto speculation. I'm not interested in that. What I'm more interested in is building a sustainable ecosystem of developers that have great apps, so that users want to be on Algorand, they want to use Algorand, and they stay. And so how do you do that? I think you do that by going, we're going to We Are Developers next month in Berlin, which is a major developer conference. And there, I'll be speaking to the types of use cases where blockchain makes an app really sing. And so there's a handful of these, just niche use cases where blockchain does things that other platforms can't do. Things like disintermediation, peer-to-peer, this idea of removing the middleman, being able to buy, if I go to a concert, I can buy a Guns N' Roses ticket or whatever off you directly, rather than, in a trustless way, rather than buying it off a ticket tout.
Right.
It's stuff like the veracity of product, the traceability of products, whether it's food, drugs, or pharmaceuticals, or indeed luxury goods. The idea of being able to follow the source of things, and actually Stacey spoke to LabTrace as another example on stage, which is essentially making sure people don't take any shortcuts or lie about medical research. So, for example, timestamping in a cryptographic way, MRIs and stuff like that in medical experimentation. So lots of really cool stuff there. I think one other thing. I think Marc put it best when he was on the stage and he said, "Don't build on quicksand."
Yeah.
Right.
I love that.
I love that, and he came up with it. But his what he means by that is when you're out there and you're building apps, on Web 2 platforms, if I can call it that. You're working for an Amazon, you're working for a Google, you're building cool things, no doubt. But you're building it for those companies.
You don't own it.
You don't own it.
Right.
And there's a real tangible ownership to what people create on Web3 platforms or decentralized platforms, because the code is yours, your customers are other people, and it's really a self-sovereign ownership and real, I think, real authentic ownership of your work.
Right.
And so that's hopefully something that attracts and inspires the millions of Python developers worldwide.
So just real quick, on the off chance there are any Python developers watching this interview, is there a link I can put in the description to point them towards what you're building?
Right. ALGORAND.co, our new website.
Okay, it's all on there.
It's all on there. And we have actually, I'd love to be able to talk about the dev portal. So I think, great apps start with great documentation and understanding the SDKs and the different environments. We don't have our new dev portal rolled out yet, but it's coming. So this year, we will have a killer new dev portal with crystal clear, single source of truth documentation that it's going to take you from zero to a hero on this. But for the moment, if you want to play with AlgoKit, just hit up algorand.co and you can follow the links from there and get involved.
Amazing. So of course, Algorand is focused on tapping into that pool of 8 million developers that code on Python. But I have a kind of internal question for the people you have brought on directly to help with Algorand itself. Do you have any new technical hires?
Yeah, so I have, when I started the foundation about 2 years ago, there was no engineering team. We have a research team, we still do research, but we didn't have software engineers. And one might say, well, a foundation may or may not need them. But what I've noticed over the last kind of 2 years is that we have a ton of products. We're actually a products company. We have to maintain the xGov's implementation, which is our on-chain governance. We have to maintain the governance portal. We maintain on-chain randomness beacon for apps to have access to entropy. We have completely, as you mentioned, changed the developer experience. So we maintain a suite of developer tools, essentially the building blocks, for writing apps on Algorand, and amongst other things. And so we run nodes as well, of course, for the infrastructure of the network. And so it turned out it made sense to basically get some technical hires in the building, start doing this stuff ourselves. It's just cheaper, better, faster. And so I feel very proud of the team that I've managed to establish. We've hired some really, really talented people. Some folks in the Algorand community will know D13, who I've just hired, who doxed himself to come and to work at the foundation. So I've also hired many others from the community, Kyle, Brian, and others. So really, I've looked at the Algorand community, and there's others there too. But I've gone and been lucky to kind of meet with the kind of not only intellectual leaders but also people who deeply understand Algorand. And I've just kind of, rather than try to go to market and hire regular developers, we've kind of brought in the talent from the community, and it's worked out really well because you kind of get these people who are not only passionate but also come ready to rock and roll.
Exactly. The cream always rises to the top. That's what my dad always said. And it's just kind of funny how you just kind of manifest the right people around you.
Right.
And to kind of pick apart what you said before is that like with the hires and like the different verticals, like you have to understand, I think more people should start to view not just Algorand but any blockchain company as the business it is, with employees, with an ROI. I think people just kind of buy crypto and they just see ALGO in their Coinbase and they don't think about the whole business structure. And I do kind of want people to kind of look at it from more of as its own industry and give it the respect it deserves. Just because you see like the tweets sometimes, like Hedera had a big one 2 weeks ago and a bunch of people were freaking out about how much one of their CEOs got paid, and I'm just like, don't you realize that that's a business with an ROI?
Sure.
Like those people should be getting paid. Like I want people to treat crypto with the respect it deserves.
I hear you on that, and I didn't see the particular instance with Hedera, but they're good guys.
They are.
And yeah, I like Lehman. He's a really good guy. We did DREC with Lehman. This
Love it.
Decentralized recovery. Check it out. DREC Alliance. Check it out. It's a way to look after your keys in a decentralized way. Your cryptographic keys. But you're right. And here's the thing. There's a real confluence of different skill sets required to do this stuff. Yep. I mean, like, maybe not for like Bonk or for dodgy coin or whatever, like, the stupid stuff, but for the serious stuff, and Solana is serious as a platform, Cardano is serious as a platform, AVAX, Ethereum, Algorand, Hedera. There's a ton of engineering that goes into that. You need to hire people who are specialists in languages, like software languages, applied mathematics, applied cryptography, distributed systems engineering.
It's a deep ocean.
Right, and so these people cost tons of money because they could choose to work elsewhere and get paid. So it does cost money, and I think it's critically important. I mean, I'm not on the side of the business, I'm on the tech side.
Sure.
But I do think it's important to be sustainable, and that's what bear markets are for, I suppose, reminding people that you've got to be careful stewards of not only funds but also of your employees.
Yeah, absolutely. So John, I know you have always been, a big proponent of filling the gaps, when there's a lack of something, filling in the mold. Sure. And it is funny how in crypto, we put all this work into this technology, all this work into these things, and then like right at the point of contact, there's some messed up kind of thing. And this concept kind of ties into, Wallet Connect.
Right. And
that we don't need it, and that it's over now, and take us away on LiquidOff and why that is so important.
Totally. And first thing I want to say, LiquidOff works on any platform. It works with Ethereum out of the box, Cardano, Solana, doesn't matter. It doesn't have a line of Algorand code in it. I don't even think the word Algorand is mentioned anywhere in the complete open source repository. It is not coupled or tied or biased towards Algorand in a single way. Okay, it's completely agnostic. What is it then? LiquidOff is a way to send information in a secure, authenticated manner between your app, so your wallet, I should say, that's MetaMask, that's Para, that's whatever wallet you want to use, and the front end to your dApp. Anyone who's been in crypto for a little while knows that apps live on the blockchain, right? Smart contracts are on chain. But you don't talk directly to the blockchain, do you? You go to a website, whether that's CurveFi, that could be Folks Finance in Algorand, it could be Sunday Swap on Cardano. You go to Sunday.swap, you go to folksfinance.com. You don't go to talk to the blockchain directly. Now, when you get to these websites and you're excited to do your swaps or do whatever the smart contract lets you do, you gotta sign transactions, right? You gotta move funds in, you gotta make trades, whatever you're doing. This always ends up being either a browser extension like MetaMask, okay, it's inside Chrome, or maybe it's on your iPhone, it's on your Android phone, you've got your wallet there. And so how does your wallet in your browser or in your hand, talk to that front end, talk to that website in order to actually interact with the chain.
Through a centralized
broker. And that is a funny thing.
Right.
Because you just kind of assume, don't you? I mean, you kind of assume.
Yeah.
Like, they've done all this,
We've done all this work in a decentralization,
right.
and right at the point of contact, centralization.
Centralization.
Wow.
And so, it didn't start off this bad though. Wallet Connect, when it first started out, was much more open. It was open source. You could, now not so much. You could, it was a little bit more permissionless. You didn't need permission to use it. They've just rolled out Wallet Connect V2, and the stranglehold is now occurring. So now that they've got the massive customer base, basically everyone uses them for this purpose, they of course want to maintain control. And so you now need their permission to use Wallet Connect V2. So therefore, if you have an app or a dApp and you want people to use it with MetaMask or Opera or other wallets, you need to be friends with these guys. And if you're in the wrong country or you're on the wrong side of some geopolitical conflict, they can also sanction you out of their use. So
Right.
I don't want to rely on anyone. That's the whole point of this thing, is that we don't have to rely on other people, right? So Wallet Connect, goodbye, hello, LiquidOff. LiquidOff is a open, and I mean that in every sense of the word. I mean, it's like open source, it's open to modify, it's open to use, it's federated, it's like completely decentralized. Even if I don't like you, and I don't like some of you.
Me either. Me either.
Even if I don't like you, I can't stop you using it. And that's the beauty of it. And what does it do? Well, it's raison d'etre. It's kind of like its primary use is this secure, routed communications between wallets and dApps. Great, but it does more than that. The second thing that it does incredibly beautifully is, because we built LiquidOff using Web 2 standards that are already established by Apples and Googles of this world, the Microsofts of this world, i.e. WebRTC, WebAuthn, Passkeys, FIDO2, you'll have heard of these things. They're industry standard, in computers generally, nothing to do with crypto. Because we use those things, you can use LiquidOff to do any kind of secure comms. So, as an example, you can log into a website with Algorand. Now, anywhere passkeys are taken, you can use Algorand as the source of your passkeys, and you can, so for example, in our demo yesterday, we logged into GitHub. Go to GitHub, sign in, and Algorand will sign with your Algorand account. You can log in as your identity on GitHub. You can do it on apple.com. You can do it.
This is already live.
Yeah, it's live right now.
Wow.
Yeah. So how do you use this thing? As the end user, you don't use it directly. The wallets will integrate against LiquidOff. And so if your local wallet wants to use it for your chain, whether that's MetaMask, of course a huge one, or a smaller wallet, you simply come to LiquidOff's repository on GitHub. You can integrate against it in a very short time. It's very simple, and then you're ready to rock and roll, and you don't have to worry about Wallet Connect shutting you out of the party.
All right, Wallet Connect. We'll catch you later. Peace. So for the Python developers out there that might be watching this video, how do they use what you're building?
You can just go to algokit.io or my personal favorite, justfuckingbuild.com, and you'll have access straight away to our developer tools.
Yeah, hopefully, YouTube monetization doesn't hit us on this, but just fucking build.
.com.
A big takeaway from your speech yesterday,
Yeah.
anyone, if you want to watch John's speech, it is linked down below in the description with timestamps, was the bit about that privacy is a human right. And
Yeah.
we're real crypto people. We care about that stuff, the truth of decentralization.
Mm-hmm.
And with the XHD wallets and the how you can have multiple addresses and just kind of break that down for the audience that doesn't know what that's kind of a newer concept.
Sure. So privacy is a human right in my view. I know it's in vogue right now. It's cool. A lot of companies care about it. You hear people talk about it in their keynotes all the time. Google, Apple, and others. But what brought me to crypto in the first place was Monero, the privacy-focused cryptocurrency. I was I was really enamored by it. I thought it was very interesting. The idea of trying to make sure people's transactions are private. So, I think in order to be truly fit for financial purposes, you need to have an element of privacy. It's been vilified, by the way, I think by governments and by some countries. It's
like, all they do is say drug lords and money launderers and all that. I'm like, yeah, but what about people that care? Privacy matters. Let's stop pretending that privacy doesn't matter.
Yeah, right. Can I bug your home because I just want to make sure you're not talking about anything bad? Where do you draw the line?
They just tiptoe totalitarianism, but that's another conversation.
Yeah. So I think it's important because here's the thing. There's some countries where buying a Bible or a Quran can get you in legal trouble. There's some countries where supporting certain charities can get you in serious legal trouble. So there are lots of examples where people are persecuted for certain things, and financial privacy is very important. And what I think is funny is that the same people who sometimes will vilify this, if you ask them to disclose all their money, where it comes from, what they spend it on, they wouldn't want to do that. So we need to protect these things. So
for sure.
Where do we start with privacy? The answer is mathematics. Applied cryptography helps us to become private. So we're looking at ring signatures, zero knowledge proofs, cryptographic transactions, and we've added some features in Algorand's virtual machine, the AVM, similar to the EVM. We've added some instructions that do pairing-based curve mathematics, i.e. equivalence checks in the extension field. And what these let you do is achieve homomorphic additivity and other kind of groovy, Mackie things.
That sounds just complicated.
Yeah, which essentially let you achieve levels of privacy. Now, next thing, the HD wallets. Algorand was using a different scheme. They weren't using BIP39, BIP44, which is the industry standard. We've converged on the industry standard. So I think if you look at LiquidOff, we're trying to set a new standard, right? Using existing primitives. But if you look at other things where we say, you know what, we're doing it different to everyone else, and really there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. We should be doing it their way.
Yeah.
So we've adopted the industry standard, which is BIP44, and now this allows you functionally as a user to derive one-time addresses, just like you can on Ledger. So we're trying to get the balance and get the best of both worlds.
A lot of amazing news has dropped. I mean, look at this tweet here on your screen from Marc, the CMO, of all the things that have been announced since Decipher started.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't know if it's the one I'm most excited for, but the one that's standing in my mind is how it's in testnet now, but Para and MasterCard, that one really struck a nerve with me, and because people that are outside of Algorand watching this might not know that Para is the window into Algorand.
Yeah.
And I really just think that the more people that get into Para will go, oh, and the light bulb will go off. What are your thoughts on that announcement?
Yeah, I mean, Para is our MetaMask, right? It's our main wallet. It's got support for all the usual things like payments and NFTs and other things. We came into contact with a company called Immersive. We thought what they were doing is really cool. I think actually we met them at Token 2049, which is a crypto conference. They were essentially doing MasterCards. They were issuing MasterCards so you could spend assets on Ethereum. Pretty cool. We talked to them and we said, hey, Algorand's got this instant finality. It's got certain properties that make it really good for payments.
They probably ate that up.
Yeah, they liked it. Well, they liked it for the reason that they have to settle. Like Ethereum's too expensive to take people's crypto assets the second that they spend in a store. So they had a little bit of
like a loan system.
Yeah, it's a tiny loan system with a lag of a few hours. With Algorand, the fees are low enough, and indeed the finality is good enough, being instant, that they can essentially settle immediately. So this is good news for their back end, their financial management. Yeah. They're regulated. They've done all the things that you need to do to issue MasterCards. They're great, and so they're already doing it. And so what we did was we wanted that experience to come to the Para users, so that they could have a MasterCard. They could be tapping it, and you can do it virtually on your phone, Apple Pay, whatever. Yeah. And now it's in testnet, and it'll be launching this year, and so you will be able to go to Coinbase, grab some USDC, send it to your Para wallet, and tap around town with your phone to spend it. So it's pretty cool. And you know what? Again, it's just like bringing these technologies to people in a way that they don't have to change their habits. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
My dad's not gonna, start, signing cryptographic transactions in a store, right? He wants to use a MasterCard, and so now he can. And so these things they're huge moments, I think, in terms of the adoption.
Huge moments. And if you're watching this video and you don't have a Para wallet, the link is down below in the description. Do yourself a favor and enter the Algorand ecosystem properly. Like you said, it is the Algorand's MetaMask. That is spot on the money there. So, it's funny, during your speech yesterday, you're already talking about AlgoKit 3.0.
Yeah.
Like basically when 4.0. Like it's moving along, and I love that. Any insight on that?
Yeah, so 3.0? I don't know. Maybe we need to rename it because I don't like this iOS 18, iOS 19,
B7X43. Yeah.
Yeah, but AlgoKit 3 follows AlgoKit 2. Yeah. 2.0 is all about Python. 3.0 is about TypeScript support, i.e. you can now use TypeScript, or you very soon will be able to use TypeScript to write your contracts. Again, another language that's spoken by millions of developers.
Right.
On top of that, we have visual debugging. You can reach out and touch your code. You can interactively watch the transaction flow in color, and you can. It makes it really easy to debug. And then finally, speaking of debugging, it used to be the case that debugging was hard on Algorand. You know, you write the code, it's got a problem, you need to walk through the code. Now you can do that in line-by-line debugging, set breakpoints, all the things that developers do on a daily basis.
So you don't have to go and fix the whole thing. You can just kind of fix what needs to be fixed.
You can stop the code at a certain level. You can inspect inside, see what variables are doing, all this kind of stuff. And so, like, I mean, this is normal stuff. If you're writing C code on your normal computer,
Sure.
It's just not that regular to see it in a blockchain context because blockchain's a bit harder. It's distributed, but now. We've brought that regular developer experience to Algorand, so something that's going to be quite cool.
Yeah, and that was my suspicion before. I was like, wait, so Algorand is going to build on Python. Are they going to build on other programming languages? And I asked you that, and you were like, well, we can't really answer that yet. And I was like, okay, John, I know what you meant.
And in fact, by the way, we are bringing a specification. So we are going to define how you screw on a new language at the front, because the rest of the pipeline, where we parse out the meaning of the code and we optimize it and compile it down into ones and zeros that runs on Algorand, that's all reusable. So we have this kind of like modular plug at the front, and so you can actually bring any language you want.
Because it all ends up in teal at the end of the day.
Actually, it ends up, it goes to AVM bytecode actually. Which is even lower level than teal.
Okay.
It's
interesting.
It's a techie thing, but it goes through the same waterfall to get to the teal.
That's the word I was looking for. The water. So the way you convert this language or that language is the same technology, so you could use it to make any programming language come into Algorand.
Right, and so we're not going to spend the money and time on this probably because TypeScript and Python are basically the two languages that people speak. But if one was interested, you could take Rust, you could take C, Swift, Java, whatever, any language, and get it running on Algorand. Of course, a subset of these languages because there's certain things that you just can't do in a blockchain, like concurrency and other things like that. But ultimately, you can bring any language.
Yeah, awesome. So, John, thank you so much for your time. But before I let you go, I have one more question for you here.
Yeah.
It is Algorand's 5th birthday. So, all your friends are there. There's a cake with candles on it. The candles are on fire, but you still have to shut your eyes, make a wish, and blow the candles out.
Yeah.
What is your birthday wish for Algorand?
I think it's already been delivered, which is having a team that brings us into the zeitgeist. It's Marc and his team, the media team, the comms team, the branding, the marketing. These people are now what we need. It's not about the elliptic curves anymore. That's solid, I think. It's now about being cool, relevant, and being on the tip of people's tongues. I want people talking about Algorand.
Yep.
And so that awareness, it only comes with world-class marketing and world-class media management, and we now have that team. So I'm so excited about it. I think we've got the formula for success.
Amazing. Everybody out there, this is Jaws, John Allen Woods. His Twitter link is down below with all the other things in the description there. Make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And comment down below, what was your favorite announcement from Decipher 2024? I want to know what you think down below in the comments. My name is AJ Reds Crypto. Have yourself a safe rest of your day. Later.